Hello, everybody. It is Friday, and today is the 24th, and this is today's Panda Ponderings. I'm going to give you a little bit of news today, and it is more a practical element of news rather than necessarily news around the world. So, I'm. You'll see a link to an article below by a Dr. Kurt Thompson. Dr. Kurt Thompson is a psychiatrist and an expert in interpersonal neurobiology. So he writes this article that talks about what we're going through right now, and what we're going through is there's this thing. It's a brand new term. It's called Zoom fatigue. How many of you are experiencing that? I know I am. My work involves for me to be on constantly with video conferencing, because that's part of my responsibilities. My roles is to help to manage personnel in that way. So it's interesting because most people right now, with the advent of so much Zoom and Skype and go to meetings and Microsoft Teams and all this stuff, you're noticing that so many people have said that they feel more tired than ever. And you can see that more people are doing this because if you go to like Amazon or any place like that and you try to find like a webcam, or you try to find any equipment that's relegated to this whole video conferencing area, you can't find it. So it's interesting to know how many people are engaged in this right now. And most people are saying that at the end of the day, they're feeling so much more exhausted than they've ever felt before. And it's really interesting because I think many of our lives have become this continuous stream of Zoom, because we're not just using it for work, we're also using it for ways to connect to our family and friends, and socially, because we crave that interaction, right? Because here's the thing, your mind is understood as both an embodied and a relational process. So we're both body and spirit, and you take either one of those things away and we stop being fully human. And you see, the problem is that what we have now is we're experiencing an act of living disembodiment, or living disembodied lives. Human beings, we use our bodies, our actual words, to communicate upwards to 90% of everything we say. Sorry, let me repeat. Let me say that over again. So human beings, we use our bodies to actually communicate up to 90% of everything that we say. This is what we call nonverbal cues. Things like eye contact, tone of voice, facial expressions, body language, gestures, timing, intensity of responses. These are all the body's portion of what it means to be with others and ourselves. Just think, like, if someone gives you that says a ton, right? Or if someone gives you no words came out of my mouth, but you understand the frustration, you understand, like how that communicates to you. And it communicates a ton of what I'm feeling, what I'm expressing, my experience of our interaction is all the above. Now, the thing is, our bodies can work independent of that conscious thing, of that consciousness, of that conscious thinking brain. This enables us to be loved and love, to be known and to know others without the use of words. And while video conferencing helps to give some of that back as compared to, let's say, a phone call, we're still missing a ton of information that our mind and bodies are working hard to make up for. And the conscious cognitive domain of our minds is having to do so much more work than it's used to doing. And that's why we're so tired at the end of the day. This is like equivalent, like an example I could give you is like the equivalent to your cell phone. Just notice, if your cell phone is constantly trying to acquire a signal, it's going to drain the battery so much more quickly than if it's already obtained the signal and is working in proper order. Same thing, we're trying to obtain that signal. We're trying to get that much more from each other. But not only is our mind working right now, and Zoom fatigue is about our mind, but secondly, it's also about our body, because our body wasn't made only made for communication. It's also made for movement. Think about how much more time you're spending, sitting in front of a computer screen, communicating in this way, or being strapped to this, looking at at news articles, finding, websites and blog posts and different things like that. You're really not doing as much movement as you were before. And think about it this way: even if you're in the office before and you were sitting on your desk most of the time, there were times that you moved away from your desk and, got up and went to another person's office, or got up and went to a meeting place. Even that small, simple amount of movement really helps, because it provides important opportunities for us to be rhythmic about our movement. And that really helps to produce a release of physical tension in your body as well. And the third, over the past few weeks and months, we've really begun to shift from a predominant feeling of anxiety into a space of irritability and anger. And what was first really a feeling of like anxiousness over whether or not the virus would kill us, and what is this all about, and what does this mean for us. But now we've moved into a place where not only are we worried about our future, but we're also angry and frustrated over the limitations of our physical interactions, our contact, and the way that we're limited from doing the things that we want to do. So while anger can be a mobilizing effect that comes to our rescue when we perceive that we are powerless to protect against a threat, that anger also creates additional energy loss. So with all these three things, what can we do? Dr. Thompson writes 8 things that could really help during this time. The first thing, make it a habit to take at least 3 5 to 10 minute walks or movements each day. So this could be like inside the house if you're walking around inside the house, or you could walk around the block. The second thing, it's possible, if possible, change the location of your work in your home every once in a while. This change of physical location gives your body awareness of movement by virtue of being in a novel location. The third thing, when possible, stand while doing work, especially in front of a computer. That's how helps keep the movement flowing. And the fourth, limit the number of people on video calls to 3 or less. The fewer people that your brain and body has to keep track of, the less tired you will be. 5, greet as many people as you can whenever you can and whenever you're able to. It will do wonders for your mind and body. 6, plans a means of spiritual affirmation. For those of you who are of faith, that might mean some type of worship or singing. The important thing is that you need to use your body, and it helps to tell your mind and soul that you are quite alive and that you're not alone. 7, talk about your anger. Find a close friend or a counselor. Your anger is real, and it isn't crazy to talk to someone. Talk to them. It will reduce your irritability and give you a greater sense of agency. 8, practice contemplation. Again, if you are of faith, this could be a time of prayer. It strengthens your capacity to live in the present moment, which protects against the irritability that emerges in the face of immobility. So the pondering is this. Look at these ways, practice this, and think, what other ways have you found to cope with what's going on? These are 8 great practical steps, but there might be others that you have found and that you would share with others. Right now, we're all in this together. We're in the same boat, every single one of us, and we need to be there for one another, help each other out, and provide resources and help that could really benefit one another. So I hope this has been motivating, pondering for you, and encouraging one, and I'll see you tomorrow.